Welcome to Goober Time with Dr. Chris Chismore, hosted by Tom and Griffin.
We are your hosts, Tom and Griffin.
Unfortunately, our illustrious friend, Dr. Chris Chismore, is away on his important research and unable to host a podcast this week.
But fear not, dear listener, because he has left us in charge, and we are going to try to do a really good job of a podcast.
This week, Dr. Chismore has asked us to talk about...
Maybe we just say relationships. Or like women, women and men relationships.
Just two guys going,
women.
For about an hour. Women.
Women.
I want to make this just show the time constantly. I know there's a way to do that, but I also don't have to. We can just kind of check in. I'll start a timer. How about that? Okay, kitty. Are we all set? Do we have waters and such?
I have waters. I have a Nalgene this week.
Things such as that. And I'll say this: I've noticed that other similar podcasts they orient themselves so that one of them, like how we used to do, somebody would be there and somebody would be here.
Yeah.
And it's time we finally address why we framed it like this. We don't really have to keep this in there, but this way you can see our faces. If we're facing each other the whole time, but you're just seeing the profile of two guys, and it's kind of weird. I think if we only have one camera.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe we'll get to that point when we have two cameras.
If a patron out there, if one of our famous and rich listeners wants to donate a Canon C80 to us with one lens, we could really be cooking.
Yeah.
We could really show more of my apartment at once.
Yeah, we are. Randleman's already...
Randleman's has kicked in as much as they're going to kick in.
Yeah, they kicked in. They're kicking in ad revenue. They kicked in the Randleman Skycam.
My fridge is filled with this stuff.
Yeah, we have tons of Randleman sauces.
It's a sauce fridge at this point. I don't have any produce. It's all hot sauce, hot pork sauce.
Yeah, I have
Randleman's hot pork sauce.
You have Randleman's hot pork sauce.
One fridge full of Randleman's hot pork sauce.
Yeah, I'm been horking down Pingo's chimichurri. That's been my favorite Randleman sauce as of late.
That's a good one. Because it's a blend of both Polynesian flavors and the flavors of Japan.
Yeah, and the good thing is they give the story behind it of Pingo was an islander, but he migrated to Argentina and created Pingo's chimichurri.
Yeah, I guess when I said Japan, what I meant to say was Argentina.
Well, yeah, that's where chimichurri is from.
I misspoke. I think. I was just thinking about Japan because I've been getting an earful of it all week. Girlfriend's going to Japan. Friend went to Japan, excited to tell girlfriend about Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is obsessed with how cheap it is to go to Japan.
Yes.
We're all sort of doing... I guess it's do it while you can if you love Japan, and it's probably beautiful.
Do it while you can if you love Japan.
I think I've seen merch that says that. Do it while you can if you love Japan. And if they don't have that merch, I goddamn tell you, we're gonna have that merch.
That's what every psycho coworker I have. There was a time when everyone was going to Japan and they were all saying like, well, you have to go to Japan because the exchange rate is so good.
Right. This is the thing. And this is the part that I was gonna say feels a little bit weirdly exploitative. But I guess also their economy's not having a good time, so they're pretty happy for it. I don't know. It just is weird that all these Americans are like, dude, it's cheap. Go to Japan now. You can take anything you want.
Yeah, well, and
I'm buying suitcases there to bring back my loot.
The irony is that we're going to be that for other countries in about 4 months.
I'd say so. I'd say... lock down whatever you can while you're in the States.
Yeah.
And by the time this comes out, knowing our editorial schedule, it'll have happened.
Yeah, it'll have happened by this point. Damn.
Do you want to say podcast topic today?
Yeah.
What did we say it was?
The perfect secrets to the perfect relationship.
Right. But do we say one word together still, or
or
we could do it all together?
Yeah. Let's just say relationship.
Let's try the whole thing.
Secrets to the perfect relationship. Okay. Secrets to the perfect relationship.
Whoa.
That was good.
That was awesome.
Okay, so that's out of the way.
That's the business we've gotten out of the way.
We have a few
clerical,
administrative. We have some housekeeping, as is trendy to say. You got correspondence from Chris this week.
I got a text from Chris today. there was a video text, a quick like 15-second video, and you're not gonna believe where he is. I would say never in a million years will you guess it, but you'll be astounded and confounded by.
Okay. Where is he?
It was a video of Chris doing push-ups.
Okay.
At the Glendale Y.
No, he was not there.
Yep.
No, he was not there.
He is there today.
He's skipping out on hosting his own podcast just a mere 10 minutes away.
Well, 15-ish.
15?
And if he's biking, still about 15, maybe 20.
Okay.
I submit to you, he is not merely working out, he's doing research.
Okay.
I think because in the video, he's not wearing any socks or shoes. He has no shirt on. He's sweating profusely. He's getting his bodily fluid all over the gym floor. He's not wiping anything down. I think he's researching what it is like to be a member of the Glendale YMCA.
He's researching pushing the gym etiquette to the brink at the Glendale YMCA. He's seeing how far you can go at the Glendale YMCA.
I think this is a response to us listening, or him listening to us. Excuse me. He's been listening to us, and I think he's decided to push it as far as he can.
Much like our president is pushing the limits of our democratic processes and checks and balances.
Wow, Tom, quite astute of you.
Yeah, our Dr. Chris Chismore is doing that same thing, but with the Glendale YMCA
and I'll tell you,
their rules.
There are no checks and balances in place at the Glendale YMCA.
No,
if you thought America had checks and balances in place, and those would be stumbling blocks for the president. He's nearly paved over those speed bumps. Chris Chismore doesn't even have one speed bump blocking him from just dragging full nut across a bench press machine.
No, the only check and balance at the YMCA is that one woman.
The one behind the desk?
Behind the desk, who will walk up and down the stairs and sometimes tell kids that they're too young to be in the functional fitness room.
That's good. I didn't know anybody was doing that.
Yeah, she does that.
I was going to say the only thing keeping the Glendale YMCA from the brink is me.
Yeah.
I'm down to go in there and say there's an old man shoeless, full foot out on the CrossFit grass, fake grass. There's there's an old man punching a different old man. I'll go tattle.
Yeah.
Because it's $50 a month, maybe more now.
I don't think it's even that.
Okay,
I pay $35 a month.
I'm paying $50 for the premium stuff.
Really? Maybe I am paying $50.
I think it's
so cheap that I don't even realize how much I'm paying.
It's not cheap enough for what it is.
They sent us, just to give everyone some more background, and because we've got a lot of positive reception about Glendale YMCA talk, they did send us a letter, both me and Griffin. They sent us a letter to our houses. To Griffin's house on Yosemite Drive in Eagle Rock, California.
I don't know. I don't even know anybody who lives on Yosemite Drive. So if you're going to do any violence to anybody in Eagle Rock and it's on Yosemite Drive, just know you're not getting me. You're getting there's like 2 high schools and the kids look unhappy there. That's about it.
They sent us a letter saying that they were raising the price by like what?
Tom is
$3 a month. $3 a month. Yeah, because
they did. They said yes, $3 a month.
They buy like $3 a month, and that was a big deal.
That was they acted like it was a huge deal,
yeah.
And I think for some of that might have weeded out some of the chaff. That might be why we haven't seen the haunted man.
Yeah, the big block, the guy who's made of concrete. My sister texted me. Yeah, my sister texted me because she was interested in hearing more about him. And I said, he's a man that looks like he's made of concrete and he acts like it too.
Yeah, and he's surrounded by the strongest teens there and the feeblest ones, but they're aspirational.
Yeah.
They're really all so desperate to be strong.
Yeah.
And there's at least one of them who is. Did I tell you about? I've maybe talked about this before.
Yeah, there are some strong.
But there's like
teens
the
there.
one dude who's like he's like taller than the block of cheese dude, the block of concrete dude. I forgot what I was saying. He's just he's the most ripped teen there. It's so obvious. It's crazy how strong this child is. He's maybe 27. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I saw him like 2 moms checking him out, 2 older women, kind of be like, "Oh hey," and he was like,
"Yeah,
what's up?" And it made me think, are they smashing?
Probably. I don't like that guy because I saw him being mean to somebody. Yeah.
Really?
The super strong guy. That's like, this schlub adult, was just using a machine that wasn't like, he didn't even, he was just using the machine. He started doing his set, and the guy was on a totally different machine across the gym, walked over to him, was like, hey, dude, I'm using that.
That's awesome.
And then the adult was like, okay. And then he went back and finished a few more of his sets and then went over to that. But I was just like, this guy sucks. You can't, of course he does. Can't hold dominion over two machines at once. You either let someone work in or you fucking just,
There's so much else to do there.
Yeah.
There's also doubles of the machine in the basement.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing that the teens have not figured out is that the basement exists, and I hope that they never figure that out.
I wish that they were only in the basement because I don't like being in the basement.
I love being in the basement.
I just like to have windows around me. But yeah, I do like it for the lack of teens. I sound so quiet. I'm not going to turn it up. I'm not going to do anything about it.
The other Glendale YMCA update before we get into our subject matter is that I did have another steam room encounter. And there's the man inside there who told me that the steam room is haunted by a Russian ghost.
Go ahead and just tell him how it unfolded, as briefly as you can. But
okay.
You told it to us at dinner that in a way that I thought unfolded nicely.
Yes, I was in the steam room after my workout, as I like to do, and I was, closing my eyes, relaxing, doing some deep breathing, and this man next to me, he wasn't the guy who wears clothes, but he is in the steam room and sauna for an unhealthy amount of time. He just goes back and forth. He wears Ralph, or no, not Ralph Lauren.
These are details we don't need.
Okay, a swimsuit. Anyway, he's in there. He's weird. It's quiet, and he's all of a sudden like, "She's in here, she's in here," and then he just leaves. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm pretty used to these type of people being in the steam room. And then he comes back in maybe 2 minutes later, sits back down, and he goes, "She's in here." Mm-mm. And it's loud enough so I can hear. And so then I'm like, okay, I'll bite. Who's in here? And he's like, this place is haunted. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, it's haunted by a woman. She speaks Russian. And I was like, how do you know? And he was like, I can hear her. She speaks Russian to me. And then I was like, well, okay. And he goes, and she'll shove you. She shoves you.
I didn't know about the shove.
And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, you can feel her shove you. If you're in here alone, she'll shove you. Oh, and then he told me about, I forget what musician he said, but he told me about some musician on YouTube and some Satanist conspiracy where he was like,
wow.
This person released a record in the 50s, and it's an anagram for Hail Satan or classic. Lucifer or I am the devil or something. And he kind of ranted, and that made me less scared about the ghost. I was scared of the ghost, and now I still am scared. Jesus, Monkey just bit me hard on the wrist.
Hey, Monkey.
Ow!
He needs somebody to be playing with him.
Well,
and I try to. But then it's just more. I need to get a second cat, I think. He's got so much energy. If you know about cat, if I said this before, if you know about cats, help me. I really don't want to have to get a second cat in this apartment. It's already when this guy, uses his litter box, it smells like an old man unloaded his diaper in the middle of the house. Mm-hmm. I can't have two of those.
Yeah,
but he might need it. Sorry that he bit
That's
you.
Okay. He bit me anyway. The steam room's haunted. I'm kind of afraid of the ghost, but now when I'm in the steam room and I'm breathing, I recite the mantra in my head: only love and light exist.
Only love and light.
Only love and light exist, which is something I learned from another podcast I listened to.
Oh, is this from the one
Otherworld?
Jack Wagner.
Yeah.
Damn it! I was gonna say this is a good story for that podcast, but
yeah. But it didn't happen to me, and I haven't experienced the ghost in the steam room. And personally, when he started, I was like, I really believed him until the point where he started going on the Satanist YouTube conspiracy, and then I was like, okay, this guy's just kind of making up the ghost. I don't think it's haunted.
He's kind of. Do you think he was trying to scare you?
I don't know. I think he was trying to scare me, but I've also been in there alone a few times by now, and it's not.
God, I would love to be in there alone a few times.
It is nice.
Monkey's chewing the electrical cable.
And then the final piece of housekeeping that I wanted to get to is someone left us. We've been getting some great reviews, great 5-star reviews on the podcast. We did get our first 4-star review, but no one wrote anything.
I
just saw that we have one 4-star.
So most of them have been 5. You're saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you can see the ratings, and then like
the
people
4-star review. Let us know.
Let us know why,
because that's our livelihood there. I know it feels like, not much, but like for what you're getting, we're giving you, we're putting a lot in here, and you're getting a lot of value for free. So 4 stars is an affront. We would, 4 stars is we've done something bad. We said something bad, and I'll admit we maybe have. And by we, I mean probably I've said something.
Griffin talked about
too far.
What could be considered assaulting the Tibetan blowjob lizard. I did say I liked Ted Nugent in one episode. His music, but then I said he was a garbage person. Maybe they got
So maybe it's those two. Either they like Ted Nugent or they don't like Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
Because you kind of covered your bases there. Or they didn't like that I was talking about
training
a non-consensual blowjob from an animal that is called the Tibetan blowjob lizard.
Yeah, I think
that's the only thing I can imagine.
I do want to address this review. It was a great review. It says "You Go Girl." It was reviewed on April 17th by Michael Moulton, and they say, "Loving the pod. As a stranger, I would like to address each of you directly. Tom, don't be afraid to cut loose. The world doesn't need to make sense."
Yeah.
And Griffin, everything is going to be okay.
Wow.
And I thought that was a great review.
That's really good to hear. Whew. Okay.
That's
can I say that's a weight off my shoulders?
Yeah. That helped me loosen up a bit.
That's actually really nice to hear.
So thank you to Michael Moulton.
Michael Moulton, thank you
we
so
really
much.
Appreciate that. And we appreciate all the reviews. I have read every single one. There are probably about 10. They have made me laugh. Every single one has made me laugh, but we did want to call that one specifically out because they directly addressed
Keep
us.
leaving them. And if you've left a review already, leave another. Who cares? Log in on incognito mode. I don't know. We're not gaming the system isn't going to get us much.
Okay.
Today's
Any
episode.
more housekeeping that you want to do?
That's the zipper on the housekeeping bag, drawn shut, I believe.
Okay, so now we can get into what Chris wants us to talk about this week.
That was the zipper.
I assume, as every week, he, was going to talk about this is what he had slated, but now we have to address it. He wants us to talk about our secrets to the perfect relationship, whether that's marriage, just standard,
situationship.
Situationship, hookups are fair game.
Platonic friends with anybody, opposite sex,
FWB,
same sex, friends with benefits. For those who don't know what Tom's talking about,
yeah, kind of an older term.
All things relationships. Is that an older term? I guess it is.
I don't know. And we are the two great guys to be talking about this because we both are in relationships.
We are the two great guys. That's true. First and foremost, what were you going to say?
I was going to say I'm married, and so now I am able to give marriage advice.
We're all really proud of you, Tom.
Yeah, I've been married for 2 years.
Okay,
just celebrated my 2-year anniversary.
The first guy to make it to 2 years.
The first ever marriage to make it to 2 years.
The first ever Penis Boys Universe marriage to make it to 2 years.
Yeah.
Will there be more?
We'll see.
We'll see. I guess that is for me to say.
And I also married 2 people a couple weeks ago. I officiated a wedding. Yeah.
Oh, and I've done that too.
When did you do it?
Before you, fucker.
Okay, who did you marry?
My friend Ryan.
Okay.
And my friend Stephanie.
Okay, are they still married?
Yeah. Oh, they're married in a big way. They're both audio engineers. They met at the same radio station, Lightning 100 in Nashville. They live in the same house. They're as married as you can be.
Awesome.
They don't have any animals, though. You guys have that on them.
Yeah. They a shout out to the audio engineers here at Detweiler Sound
in beautiful Tupelo, Mississippi.
That's awesome. Great. So yeah, I've been married for 2 years. I've been in a relationship for now 10.
10.
Or 9 or 10.
Wow.
Yeah, what about, and you are in a somewhat new relationship.
I would say I'm in a somewhat new relationship. We've known each other and for about a year, coming up on a year.
Wow.
Or maybe been dating for almost a year. I need to look at this. I think next month is maybe
you should
1 year.
be looking at that because she's looking at that.
Yeah.
And she is marking her calendar and she's saying, "Is Griffin gonna buy me the big gift?
The big gift?
Is he gonna buy me the big gift?
The big bear?
Is he gonna buy me the big bear?"
There's that big bear that that house above you in your neighborhood that they have the big stuffed bear sitting next to their door. Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Maybe I'll buy her that big bear and she can have that next to her house.
Yeah, that's the 1 year anniversary gift. You got to go with the big bear.
What was I going to say? Me, relationship 1 year. And this is the longest relationship you've ever had, you would say?
Yes, I think, it was kind of the first big relationship, and now it's the longest, and now it's the only. Wow. And so now everything about it has been perfect. I've never made a single mistake, and I'm in a great position to be doling out advice.
That's great.
Especially around dating and hooking up.
Wow, never one. And Jordan never making any mistakes either. Never putting her foot in her mouth or getting mad at you because the mountain isn't the mountain or whatever.
No. And we're both sapiosexuals too. So
right.
You're
if you had it your way, you'd be fucking a college professor.
Yeah. I mean, when you're a sapiosexual, you essentially are. And a sapiosexual, for anyone who doesn't know, is someone who's attracted to intelligence.
To smarts.
Intelligence only. And that's what
not book knowledge.
No. Well, it's smarts and book knowledge.
I think the podcast should take a hard turn into the difference between intelligence and knowledge.
Okay. That's fair game for this.
Dr. Chris
Chismore would love that.
I actually don't want to talk about that.
He'd be 20 minutes into the difference between intelligence and knowledge right about now.
Yeah, he would.
Funk soul brother.
What was the first relationship you ever had? You can't say with Christ.
The first relationship, were we talking like elementary school?
I don't know what you would call a relationship.
Yeah, I know. I think the actual first relationship I had was probably when I was 19.
Okay. Yeah. A bit late of a late bloomer.
Yes,
absolutely.
A late bloomer? Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely a late bloomer because I was afraid of dating, and my parents were not very. They weren't very helpful.
Yeah, interesting.
Or didn't make that seem like a safe and good decision.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because we were also, it was very religious.
Yes. It has been established. That's canon.
Yeah. Yes.
How long was it? Who was she?
She was a friend that I had known, and we kind of reconnected.
A friend that you had known.
A friend that I had known. That wasn't, we went to high school. We kind of grew up. I met her at summer camp originally, and then we were working at summer camp. And
a camp girl.
Yeah, a camp girl.
There's just something about those camp girls.
There is something about those camp girls, and you can't resist them. And yeah, I think I learned a lot. I behaved.
Wow, at 19, you learned a lot.
I did. It was my first relationship.
I didn't learn anything from a relationship until about last week when, Stephanie told me I got to be putting the fork and the knife in the right place at dinner.
Yeah. That's a big thing about relationships is you gotta
be learning.
Yeah, you gotta be learning, and you gotta be teaching.
Oh, I've never even thought about teaching.
Yeah,
I've just been frustrated in a relationship before, and then eventually it ended. I've never taught. Those are maybe opportunities to teach and to listen.
To teach, to teach and to learn.
To teach and to learn.
Yeah, that was one of the things I had. My relationship advice is always be teaching.
Always be teaching.
People love it. Women love it when you're teaching them lessons.
And it could be about life. It could be big lessons. It could be small lessons about Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography.
Yeah, or battleships and submarines.
Sure. You could be teaching them, lessons about the history of the Gibson Les Paul.
Oh yeah,
they love that. But you could also be teaching them lessons about the ways of life.
And they are teaching you lessons about where the fork and the knife go.
Oh yeah.
Where were you putting them?
I don't know. I think this happened one time, and I don't remember what I did. I put them on the right side or the left side. I don't remember where they go. And when she hears this, she'll be slight. I was gonna say she'll be frustrated, but she'll be laughing to herself and also a little bit disappointed in me for still not remembering where they go. And you know who else will be disappointed to hear this is my mom. Will be disappointed that I can't remember where the fork and the knife go. In this, whatever table settings. It's been so long since I've had to set a table.
Mm-hmm.
They've only recently set tables have only recently come back into my life. I guess at a restaurant they're set. Never mind.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, say you haven't been in a relationship in a long time without saying you haven't been in a relationship in a long time because you don't know how to set a damn table.
Brother, I'm saying I haven't been in a relationship in a long time.
Yeah, my ass has been setting tables for probably about 10 years, even longer than that because my mom made me set the table.
Listen, mine did too. I just counted it as unimportant.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was in a relationship,
how to eat, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
When you were in a relationship, what?
I was joking. I said when I was in a relationship with my mom.
Oh, right.
You know, that's kind of every young boy's first relationship.
That's such a strange thing to say. That's such a sort of foul, disgusting.
Every boy's
1920s psychology horseshit thing to say.
You heard it here first on Goober Time with Dr. Chris Chismore. Every boy's first relationship is with his mother, and that I'm digging into that.
Okay,
I'm digging.
You want to keep going on it? You want to elaborate?
Yeah. Elaborate. Well, she's the first woman you're trying to please.
Sure, of course. And your father, the first man you're trying to please.
Yes, and your father, well, sometimes you get angry at your father because he's taking your mother's attention.
Right. And this is only, what am I trying to pick apart here? Is the thinking here that this is true of all young men, regardless of sexual orientation?
Yes, absolutely.
Gay little boys, their first relationship is with their mother.
Yes.
And straight little boys, their first relationship was with their mother.
Yes.
And who's relating to the father?
No one.
Only the daughters.
Only the daughters.
So why is it this weird, fucked up, gendered thing? Why is it heterosexual? Why is it the little boys' relationships are with their mother? Why can't a little boy's first relationship be with his father? Why does it have to be this? This is my whole issue with this bullshit.
Well, because the masculine and feminine energies, they're attracted to each other.
Get fucked. You want my honest reaction? Okay, I'm breaking kayfabe here. Get fucked. Griffin. You fucking moron. Get fucked. You're implying that there's some bizarre sexual union or desire.
Yeah, but the masculine and feminine
but it's
energies.
It's explicitly a heterosexual. We have father-daughter dances. We have mother-son dances.
Mm-hmm.
Why no father-son dance?
I think
the implication is strange to me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see a father-son dance at a wedding.
I think some cultures maybe do that.
But I think in my mind, there's the masculine energy and the feminine energy, and those are the yin and yang.
Yes.
Of the relationship.
Sure.
And in all the studies I did earlier this week when I was doing my research,
you were running double-blind studies.
I was running a lot of double-blind studies, and there was lots of talk about masculine and feminine energy.
Oh yes,
and you can't override a man's There was another expert I was talking to who said that you cannot women. You cannot.
Can I correct you on something there?
What?
Females.
Okay. They're saying females, you cannot out masculine a man's energy. So if he's always going to out masculine you.
He's always going to do it. This is true.
This is true.
To the same awful podcast
because you sent me you sent me the podcast and I listened to it.
It was hard to understand what she was saying. Just it was so barely pieced together.
Yeah, this was I
would say
I need to pull it up just so
one of the strangest podcasts I've ever heard. It seemed like she was reading from her notes but could barely put together a full thought.
This was the Shekinah Spoken Like a True Goddess podcast with Shekinah, and the title was How to Use Feminine Energy in a Romantic Relationship So You Can Have It All.
And she seemed to be both advocating for being toxic and not healing, but then also healing yourself so that you aren't toxic anymore.
Yes.
And I will say, though I did just drag sort of how utterly stupid the entire podcast was up to the point I listened, I was charmed by her journey of healing, because she does admit in there that she healed, and then when she healed, she started having better relationships with men. And she felt so nice when a man told her that she was like a place of peace for her or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And she,
an emotional safe space.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And in one stroke, that makes me so sad to hear that this is a full-grown adult woman who's just finding out that it's okay to be nice to men.
Yes.
But also, I'm so happy that she's finally figured it out. So whatever your name is,
Shekinah
from the podcast I've never heard of until 45 minutes ago, I'm happy for you.
Congratulations.
She's on the road to success.
Okay, so we've established a few great relationship tips here. We always be teaching, always be learning.
Sure,
That's another one. Something that I was thinking about was that no matter whether you're trying to hook up,
right,
or you're trying to maintain a healthy marriage or relationship, dating is a big part of that. You have to be thinking of fun little things to do all the time.
You do.
Dating is a big part of being in a relationship. So I was going to see what good date ideas you had, or what we could give to some of our students, our citizen soldiers on the other end.
Our citizen soldiers who need a little help. Man, you say that, and the first thing I just immediately went into self-reflection mode, and I'm incredibly bad at coming up with plans at all. Friday rolls around, and I realize it's Friday, and I'm like, well, I don't have anything to do this weekend.
Yep.
No one's invited me to anything. Well, dipshit, you didn't invite anybody to anything.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even think about the weekend until the weekend, and now there's no more reservations. So
this is a reservation town.
I also think it's probably been a little bit since Stephanie and I have gone on like a date, like where we were like, oh, let's go find this. Like, it's been like a couple of weeks since we've gone to some of it. It's mostly just us chilling, hanging out at her house, going to dinner, having a drink, going on a bike ride. I guess those are date things, but they're not like, hey, this Friday, keep it free.
Yeah.
Keep that open. I should just hit her with that.
Yes, because that is a very important.
Intriguing.
It's intriguing. It's mysterious.
Women like that. They like mystery.
Mm-hmm.
They like confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing says confidence like, I own your time, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do with it.
Yeah. That's very true. And the sad part is that that would work. That would absolutely work. If I told Jordan, hey, keep Friday open, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do with it.
It sounds like you have a big surprise plan. Yeah. That's why.
But really, I'm taking her. We're going to a blood drive.
We're going right back to that same blood drive, baby.
We're going right back to that. I
was monitoring how much we gave last week, and it wasn't our personal record. We didn't set a new PR. We're dropping off more blood. Eat them tangerines, baby. Drink some milk. Whatever you got to do.
Do we have to go to the blood drive again? And I say, we're doing charity. We're doing good charity.
We're helping the world. And her voice cracks like that because she's weak on account of how much blood she's given.
I'm so tired.
Do we have to give more blood? Well, I don't. I hit the quota, but I hit the quota.
I hit the quota.
But you, honey, I don't think you've given enough blood.
Two people who've given so much blood that they're so fucking loopy, just about to give more blood.
Slamming
do you
Snickers
think
bars.
I've given enough blood? Well, I still have the blood in me, do I? Meanwhile, the facilitators are like, yes, they're back.
Yes, these guys love the stuff.
These guys love it. Yeah, I take her to the blood drive.
I'm trying to think of good, real good date ideas I've ever had. I one time, so I'm trying to remember if I was in Chicago, and I was either dating my, I'd say first real girlfriend, or was like trying to figure out, how to ask her out or whatever. Maybe we weren't boyfriend, girlfriend yet, but my mom, I think, sent me a letter that said, it was like, encouraging and like helpful advice. I think she was, aware, somehow aware of it, or just aware that I was like trying to date. And it said something like, Women love a guy who can take them to the best events and coolest places. And I thought that was so good.
That is nice.
Like, okay, shit. I got to think of the best events. Well, I don't know. I didn't have any money, so that kind of keeps you from thinking about the best events.
Yeah.
I'm also just not an events guy. I'm a total klutz dumbass when it comes to events.
You're not an events guy and you're not a places guy.
Not places.
You're kind of like a Tarkov. You're guy. Like a on the couch
you think
Tarkov,
I'm playing Tarkov
guy.
all the time.
Yeah.
Look at this body. You look at this body and you tell me you think I'm playing Tarkov all the time. I don't know. I'll tell you something I wasn't thinking about in relation to this. Women don't want to be dating a guy who's just getting high and playing video games all the time, unless that video game is Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah. Then that's
if it's between you and another high value male who is not playing Escape from Tarkov, she's going to pick you because you're doing something incredibly hard that very few people want to do, and you know a lot about real guns.
I had my second girlfriend dumped me because I wasn't playing enough Escape from Tarkov.
I thought you were going to say because you were addicted to World of Warcraft.
No, and then I tried to play. I was like, okay, well, I should get more into Escape from Tarkov. And then she said, okay, well, yeah, you play Tarkov, but you're not stoned enough.
You're not quite high enough.
Yeah, she said, I want you to be more high, and you just don't get high enough while you're playing Tarkov.
Babe, I don't know. You're just not hitting enough bong rips on stream. The Twitch chat is chanting for you to do another bong rip, and you're just not doing it. And, well, it's kind of turning me off.
Oh yeah. Man, I'll miss her, Angela. I miss her every day.
A real name of a woman you dated? No. I don't know, man. I can't tell.
You're Mr. Ernest over here. I'm trying to goof off. I'm trying to not be afraid to cut loose.
Yeah.
Because the world doesn't need to make sense. Shout out to Michael Moulton.
Michael Moulton making another appearance on the pod. You get $15. That's a rule I just decided on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of actual good dates. Incredible events I've been. The best dates I've ever been on have been doing almost nothing. Have been, we planned to go to a bar. We both rode bikes, and then it turns into let's just kind of ride our bikes around Chicago. Let's go to the lakefront. Let's not really do anything. It's not like a planned oh, hey, let's go to jazz night. That stuff is fun, but the best stuff has been unstructured fun, lightly, I'd say loosely structured. Hey, let's get on the bike and go somewhere is one of the best dates I know about.
Yeah. I think that's
let's go check out something neither of us know about.
Yes.
Oh, here's
learning together, teaching together.
If anything, you could both be learning together, but then you could go teach together, teach for America. Some people while they're doing that.
Yeah, some people do that as a date.
Some people do that and they find their husband and their wife when they do Peace Corps.
Yes.
Not me, but I know somebody's done that.
My go-to good date in college, which I still think was a good date, when you said cool places, my cool place was I knew how to sneak inside the football stadium through a tunnel. A sewer tunnel.
A sewer tunnel?
Yeah, but it wasn't you didn't have to crawl. It was big enough to stand up in. It was pretty easy to access. And then it led out into a graveyard. So we'd go...
From the football stadium into a graveyard?
Yes, we'd walk underneath a stadium. I'd crawl up. I'd take off the manhole cover to show the woman how strong I was. And then we'd sit in the stadium and we'd kiss for a bit. And then
the vast stadium.
Yeah, the vast stadium. Nobody
in there.
Nobody
you could shout,
in there.
Echo.
Yeah, you didn't want to shout because it was
security.
Yeah, I mean the cool thing about I went to school at the Harvard of Northeast Georgia, the University of Georgia, and the stadium is in the middle of campus. And so, if you shout, someone could easily be like, oh, well, let's just get the police in there. But you could, kind of hide.
Rules. He's following the rules too much.
You could kind of hide among the, among the shadows. And that was cool. And then you walked into the graveyard, and it was kind of spooky.
Wow.
So that was a good date. That was a really cool place.
I used to, it took me a while to start actually going on dates at all, real date, as an adult. And I think for a while thought getting sushi is the best thing you can do.
That's pretty good.
But I can't remember. I think I thought it was great because, I don't know why. it's awkward. Something about it being kind of slightly awkward to eat sushi with somebody who you've just met, and I think it like naturally, I thought it like naturally provided a time, like, you know, I can ask you a question. Now you have to chew. You're
Yes.
like, we're taking turns talking. But now, you know, as an adult here, I'm thinking that's just eating a meal.
Yes, but sushi, you know, also shows that like I'm okay
Cultured.
to spend a little bit of money.
Yes.
And I'm not afraid to try new things.
I think that was great.
Yeah.
Damn, I wish I could think of some other ones. I don't know. Maybe they'll come to me.
It's so crazy to me, a brief tangent, that like our parents, like my parents, like didn't eat sushi on day. They like sushi came about in their lifetime.
I never even thought about that.
Isn't that crazy?
Is that true?
Yes, like sushi was not a huge thing in the States until like the 80s or
What?
90s. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we're quite early on sushi in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, for sure. Like my parents just don't like sushi, and I was like, oh, it's so weird because they both love fish and seafood.
That's wild.
But then I just realized like, oh, they don't like it because they never like were accustomed to it growing up.
Wow.
And it was like something that is if like a new food craze hit like now, and we're like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat this. This looks fucking gross.
Damn. Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's why I just assumed it was a thing for at least 100 years.
Yeah.
But I guess how would it be?
I mean,
before
it has
refrigeration.
been. Like, I mean, I think
I mean in the States.
Yeah, in the
like,
States,
in
yeah.
landlocked cities. In Nashville, Tennessee, nobody was eating sushi 100 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm pretty sure about that. And if I'm wrong, who the fuck cares?
Fuck
This
off.
is my podcast.
Eat
I
shit.
can
It's
say
true
whatever
now.
shit. Yeah. But anyway,
we both just start cussing like teen boys.
over the people who love us and listen to the 200 people who
200
listen to
people are going to be almost 100% people we know.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, my sister. Yeah, friends, my wife's friends. Anyway,
do you have any other incredible date ideas?
Incredible date
the
ideas.
Stadium's really, really a good one.
Yeah,
My dad. Sorry, just now I thought of one. My dad would, when I was growing up, would talk about, college and going on dates, and he, I think, also loved to take women to graveyards, but because he was so obsessed with the Civil War and history, and he'd be like, there's this grave I really want to go see, and he'd take some girl to the graveyard to see like, some Civil War soldier's grave. It
is a classic guy move to be like, I'm gonna fucking stim out in front of a woman. that's really what I did.
And there
so
has to have
often.
been, I'd assume, more to it than that, or like in his telling. But that's my memory of it now. Is that my dad would just take women to the graveyard to see Civil War graves.
Yeah.
Around Auburn, Alabama.
That's insane and sounds like something that I would totally do. I would want to go to like the aquarium just so I could be like, this is what I know about this fish.
Yeah.
You know, just like talk at women. That was kind of what my early idea of a date was in some ways of like, let me show you let me stim out.
That is classic dumb bad guy behavior. that is why. Yeah, that's why we need, I don't know, podcasts to teach us differently. we need Esther Perel.
Yeah.
Do you know about her?
Yeah, kind of.
She's always telling people it's okay if you cheated on each other, you get over it.
Yep.
That's
okay. Yeah.
That's my take. Having listened to her twice.
I think Jordan has listened to her a few times.
It's a good podcast.
Yeah.
She's talking to real couples, doing real couples therapy, and a lot of it is like, he fucked somebody, but we're going to try to stay together for some ungodly reason. And then it becomes, well, you need to forgive him then, which is probably true, but it's I don't know what other lesson I'm learning from her. Maybe I need to listen more. Forgiveness, though. That's, I think, it is a good lesson for maintaining a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, you absolutely have to forgive.
You have to forgive. You have to forget.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah,
what?
Yeah. Well, you just have had some very earnest lessons.
Well, I kind of kept talking about Esther Perel, and then I was like, why am I talking about this so much? So I had to turn it into some kind of thing, point.
I'm trying to think of other early date ideas. I just had the docks. That's another date idea.
You go down to the docks.
Yeah,
Jesus
the shipyard.
Christ. Is this a real thing?
No.
You're landlocked in
Well,
Georgia.
we're trying to have fun. We just said forgiveness is a big part of relationships. We got to have fun again. We got to have fun.
let's say, what if we said be confident, take risks.
Be mysterious. Mystery is a great. That's something else that insane other podcasts we listened to talked about.
Here's something I like that is advice that I got when I was a young man, which was be confident. The be confident thing. I want to maybe go back to that because the advice is just be confident.
Yeah, which is awful advice.
I'm assuming you're telling that to somebody who is not confident.
Yes.
Who is anxious.
Yeah.
What's the other word I'm looking for? The opposite of confident. Whatever. Down on themselves. Shy guy.
Insecure.
And it's just be confident. Me, a guy who was having a hard time being confident around women.
Yeah.
Just be confident. Oh, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
No guidance on how to become confident.
Confident.
And I think that's one of the hardest ones. This is back to sincere lessons, but that is one of the hardest things to do in the world is just suddenly be confident. And then it's like, well, fake it till you make it. That feels insane when you're insecure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also like just being confident isn't enough. I've always been pretty confident my whole life, and like there are plenty of women who do not who hate
There's a lot of women who hate
me. Hey, there are a lot of women who hate me.
I mean, I'll say I've developed a lot of confidence later in life, and I'd say the same. There's a lot of women who really don't want to spend time with me because of how confident I have been.
Yeah.
Wow, he's really sure about how funny he is and good at improv he is. That's the last guy most women want to hang out with, especially women in the improv scene.
Yeah, anyone who just says be confident, it's bad advice. You got to be specific.
Baby steps. Give me something to do.
Yes.
So how do you do that? How do you build confidence, Tom? In general, but with women as well. Females.
Okay, how do you build confidence
with females?
With females. I just think earnestly, I think spending time around people and around the opposite sex or whoever you're interested in builds confidence, because then you're like, oh, well, this is just a totally regular person, or you're like, oh, this is a totally batshit person. That's happened to me. Yeah, they're crazy. I don't like them, or they aren't the person I thought they were. Like that builds confidence, and then you're like, yeah, I'll get out of here. That happened to me a few times where
I'll move on.
This is a stone cold babe, and then I went on a date or two, and I said, oh, she treated there was one time I went on a date, thought this girl was really hot. She treated a server awful, and then like didn't want a tip, and I was like, I can't.
I still would have.
Yeah, I should. Looking back, I was like, it should have. I should have. It would have been nothing.
I still would have been so excited to hook up with somebody hot.
Yeah, I should have done it, but whatever. That was just a big, and that sounds like I'm like trying to pat myself on the back because like, oh, someone treated the service industry staff, and so that turned me off. But like, it really was like, I was like, oh damn, this girl's a babe, and then I was like, oh, she got really drunk and awful. Didn't want a tip, and I was like, okay,
she's terrible.
Yeah, she sounds bad. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm better than this. And that gave me confidence.
That's really good. I think you already have confidence in there. Baked into that, I'm better than this. You knew you were better than that.
Yeah, for sure. I was like,
I think I would have been like, and have been, earlier in life been like, is it that bad?
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, she seems like she wants to kiss me.
Yeah.
So that's maybe not the worst thing.
Yeah, I mean, I
also haven't. I think I've probably been around somebody who have been like, you're batshit insane. I detected it quite early.
Yeah, for sure.
There's definitely been a few of those.
Yep.
Where I was like, something seems off. I'm kind of not gonna pursue this, and then get double, triple DMs that are quite mad at me for not wanting to go on a date with you. I've had this happen a couple times. Women are pissed off they can't go on dates with me.
Yeah, it's a pretty common thing for guys like us. I've had to turn my DMs off because so many women are pissed that I'm not going on dates with them.
Wow.
They're like, they're so mad that I've been married for 2 years and in a relationship for 10 that they just send me the
vilest of texts.
Vilest of, they've gotten a hold of my number. They send letters to my house.
That's no good.
Yeah.
So that was, I just wanted to drill down on the be confident. I think shit advice, and you got to find some confidence. You got to build it slowly. You got to do something probably that isn't about, if you're a guy trying to date women, you got to let it go, chill.
Yeah.
Don't hold on so tight trying to impress women. You're not gonna, if you're insecure and you're desperate to be dating somebody, I think you got to lose that desperation somehow, brother.
You gotta go out. You gotta find yourself. You gotta
go do something that's not about women. It's not it's about you.
You gotta go out to the Dionysian sphere by yourself and see some shows. Find out who you are.
Mickey's Dionysian sphere.
Mickey's Dionysian sphere. You gotta
see what kind of pleasure wraps itself around you.
Yeah. You gotta venture out.
You're gonna be getting wine drunk. You're gonna be getting blasted, zooted on red wine. Is probably part of it.
Yeah.
What else? I would say clothing. Clothing. If you're not confident, clothing helps. If you are confident, clothing helps. Dressing like you care about yourself, important. One of and dressing like a high value male.
Yeah.
Incredibly important. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yes, I know
smell it from a mile away.
I smell it from a mile away.
One of the most successful dates I've ever had in my life, I was wearing another man's clothes.
Oh no, I did not smell this. Yeah, this is a great time.
I was wearing Tom Fell's clothes.
Yeah. Tell the story.
That's the story. I had done an improv show and then I had a date coming up, and I was hanging out with Tom, and I said, "Oh my God, my clothes are, I don't know, I had they were gross somehow. I think I'd been biking in them. They're not clothes you wanted to be going on a date. They were sweaty."
Stinky.
And I said, "Tom, we're about the same size. I gotta borrow some clothes." And I borrowed some clothes, and I did a little bit of hooking up that night.
I gave Griffin a colorful shirt from J. Crew, and he hooked up. Yeah, it helped him peacock, and he hooked up in it.
And maybe some pants.
I don't know if I gave
just
you my
shirt?
pants. I think I just gave you the shirt.
I feel like it was the pants as well.
And then that inspired a bad. It wasn't bad.
An incredible sketch comedy video.
It was a good sketch comedy video. It's still up on YouTube called "Rent My Clothes." If you want to go to my YouTube.
Early.
You want to see early.
See that early shit.
Tom and Griffin sketch comedy. That's mainly just me and. It's in my old room in Chicago. You can look up "Rent My Clothes."
But I think that's fair advice. That's good advice.
Yeah. I think it is. You gotta wear something nice.
You can see Tom and I taking our own advice, both wearing interesting sweaters.
Yeah.
Today, for the listener, if you're not looking on YouTube, Tom, you're wearing what I would say is a leopard print.
Yes, leopard print mohair sweater.
Mohair.
That's the term for it.
Mohair.
It's like the fuzzy stuff.
And mine is it sort of looks
kind
like
of a knit,
black
kind
and
of
white
like
picture of birds or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like a TV static sweater. But
you got to get something interesting in your closet away.
For sure. I think that honestly is good advice. I feel like that's one of the things that, when I first started getting in relationships, is the women would always be like, you got to get better clothes. You got to get better clothes. Because I wore bad clothes for a long time.
I'd say you still do.
Yeah. Some people think so.
No, I'm joking.
Hey, some of my coworkers might think so. Those fuckers don't have any style.
They got no steez.
No, you gotta. Now we're in LA. We gotta have some cool style. We gotta be the 40-year-old guys trying to look like they're 15. That's a lot of what. Sometimes I come out here, I'll see a dude who's like 43 trying to dress like he's 15.
He's wearing a bucket hat and I don't know, like cargo shorts or something.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, it's okay to wear some like LL Bean at your age.
Wear a button down and some slacks, brother.
Yeah. Chill out.
Look a little bit distinguished.
Yeah.
You'll still be able to fuck the 28-year-olds or whatever it is you're after.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't dress like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
This is Los Angeles. I'm speaking specifically to Los Angeles.
Yep.
The Los Angelinos.
Yep. Here's a good podcast dating tip is just age. And then as you get older, you age, and then that gives you confidence.
Well, it gives you confidence because as a man, men get more attractive with age.
Yes.
And women get a little bit busted. They get a little bit insecure about how they look. And that gives you a little bit of power.
Jesus.
Full Andrew Tate advice.
Yep. Yeah, full Andrew. But we did.
Joking. I was joking.
Okay, we're just kidding, women. We were just kidding.
I don't actually think that.
We're
I
just
think
kidding.
Women are beautiful at every
3 women
age.
who listen
I think
here,
there's no
which is
ugly
my
woman.
sister, my wife, and
my mom, and my girlfriend,
and your mom and your girl. Yeah, and Griffin's mom listens to this podcast, which is kind of.
Mom, you got to stop listening.
Yeah.
I gotta be cut loose. I gotta be able to talk about crazy stuff and know that you're not going to be worried about. I gotta not be worried about you hearing me be awful.
Griffin said before we started the podcast that his mom listens to the podcast and then says, and that's not good because we got to be able to talk about cunnilingus.
I see, and I didn't say that knowing my mom's going to hear that.
And then I said, yeah, so cunnilingus is a large part of our lives. And I wanted to say that on the podcast.
Yeah, okay. So, well, I hope you're happy.
Which is kind of, well, that's going to be our NSFW. This is an explicit podcast, so we can go ahead and say, yeah, cunnilingus is a big part of our lives. And if you want to date, you're going to want to lick some pussy.
You are going to want to lick some pussy. If you're going to be dating, you can't just not.
Or if you're, you know, I guess no matter what, if you're a girl.
God, I hope my mom has turned this episode off.
Yeah,
already.
No matter what, even if you're a gay guy, you got to learn to give.
I might have to figure out how to block her from this episode. What'd you say? If you're gay, if
you're a gay guy, you got to learn to give.
Yeah, gay guys out there, you got to learn to give.
Jesus, I've dug myself into it.
I'm gonna keep digging for you, brother.
Every part of a relationship,
in Tom's view, a lot of ungracious, narcissistic gay men. Tom has been seeing out there, and I'll say it for you, brother. You're tired of it. Let's give a little. Let's help each other out. That's all.
Yeah. I think what I'm trying to say is when you're in a relationship, you got to learn to give a little bit. Physically, emotionally, go.
No, I'm done. I was gonna just keep going on that riff. You do have to learn to give. Sure, great. I feel like I had another little thing written down. Oh, I just wanted to mention our coaching is available on our Patreon.
Yeah.
If you need emergency help.
Emergency help, we will email you within 24 hours with dating or sex advice. Paid clients come first. We have a lot of students.
We'll get to you when we get to you.
Yes, absolutely.
If you're not paid. But the Patreon is the place to do that. Maybe that'll exist when this comes out, but I'm gonna guess probably not.
Or 5-star review. 5-star review is a great place.
That's
to get
a good place to
advice.
start. Yeah. You leave a 5-star review asking for some advice. We'll address it on the pod.
Yep.
Do you have anything else advice-wise? Any other tales of the Tom Fell dating life?
I think I'll save those for every other episode of the podcast as they come up naturally. I think.
Are you sure?
I think so. I think we
have a few moments here. If you had something you wanted to get off your chest, you don't have to. I'm not digging for anything. I didn't want you to be scared of the clock sitting here.
No, I'm not scared of clocks anymore.
That's good.
I just think
that's growth.
I think I've kind of breezed past everything else that I had written down. I did have that, like, I think it's good. You want to have a relationship. You want to be in a relationship because it's a lot easier to go through life with another person. You know, who can share the labor. You can live with somebody. It's cheaper. I think that, I always felt pretty confident being alone. And then I got in a relationship and I was like, whoa, it does make life a lot easier. Because you can split rent and economically it's very helpful.
Right. And you get twice as many shows recommended to you.
Yes.
Movie recommendations. You're getting a lot more culture coming your way.
Yeah.
And you're finding out about stuff you wouldn't have known about. Last big date Steph and I did, we went to the Alvin Ailey dance troupe thing. It was at some pavilion it was at some performing arts studio. And I thought, she really wants to go to this. I'm not incredibly interested in it, but I'm an intelligent, cultured man. I like new experiences. I like art. These tickets are quite mighty expensive. It must be good art. And so I went, and I'd say the first 30 minutes I thought, I wonder if my shoelaces are long enough for me to hang myself right now, because this is one of the most excruciating experiences of my life. This is it's such utter dog shit bad. And then the next 2/3 of the event unfolded, and it was some of the most incredible, art I've ever seen. And I found out, because I said to Stephanie, I don't think this is for me. Mm-hmm. I don't think I can really be watching this. And she was, felt like I was shitting on the evening, and I think didn't like that. And then at the break, we heard people around us, and they were all kind of like, that first thing was fucked up. And we found out that wasn't even done by Alvin Ailey. It was like the current artistic director. And I'm sorry to be harsh. I don't think critics are good people, but I think sometimes there's a time and a place where, and if you're the guy who's done the first section of the Alvin Ailey dance troupe bullshit, whatever it's called, you fucked up. You fucked up so hard. But I came away from that, despite how awful that was, with a new appreciation of an art form that I've been a little bit aware of. Mm-hmm. And it was so profound. It was inspiring to me. It was beautiful. The lighting and the dance. And it's almost magic what they're doing. They're doing, women hanging off of a guy's neck while he's spinning around. It's crazy. And it's incredible. And I would not have had that experience if not for dating.
Yeah.
It broadens your horizons.
Yeah.
In ways that you couldn't know. It'll make you go from so angry you want to kill yourself to having a new lease on life. That's dating.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful insight. We ought to see if they'll come down to Kokomo's Mungo Lounge to perform sometime.
I bet they would. With enough cash.
In the main room.
We could get them. We could get them in the lab. The main room that's going to be tough to book. We could talk about maybe get them into the Dionysian sphere.
Yeah, the Dionysian sphere.
Or the Dionysus sphere.
The Dionysian sphere.
Dionysian sphere.
Yeah, I think that's a good insight. That's a beautiful insight to end on, to wrap it up.
I'd say that's the value of any relationship, but it's especially true of close, intimate ones. It'll open if you're a guy and you think women aren't for me. If you're going down the incel path, mm-hmm. If you don't even think you're going down the incel path, but you feel frustrated about women, frustrated about dating, and you're saying no, let me tell you, there's something nice on the other end of that if you can get out of your own way. And it's called regular sex, consistent sexual interactions. It's one of the best things in the world.
So your advice is, if someone is thinking about becoming an incel, that they just got to start having more sex.
Stay. I'm saying stick with dating.
Stick with dating,
because eventually you'll have some sex.
Okay.
And you'll find out that's kind of nice. And I think I like this person I'm having sex with. That comes after.
Yes.
And then you think, yeah, I'll go with her down to the flea market, whatever it is she likes to do. And then you go there and you see...
Gals love going to markets.
And you see people in a way that you've never seen them before. And you're thinking, my God, it's so beautiful how these people from all over the world, and they've come here and now they live here, and they're each having their own little lives, and they're selling their wares, and you're having a magical experience at the flea market, and you didn't think you were going to have it. And not even 2 years ago, you were thinking, I don't know, Andrew Tate stuff.
Yeah, I used to hate seeing couples until I was in a couple, and then I was like, oh, they're so cute together.
I still hate seeing couples, but that's just because I don't like people. Quit it. Don't touch each other. What are you touching each other for?
Yeah.
Grow up.
Couples are pretty annoying. The thing that I hate the most is, like, there was a couple on an airplane once who was like, the couple on the airplane who just like cannot not sit together. And then they like did not book their seats together, and they're like, "Yeah, do you mind? I just wanted to." It was like a fucking 30-minute flight, and this woman was asking to like sit next to her like boyfriend. Made another woman move so she could sit next to her boyfriend for like 30 minutes. And I'm like, "What are you guys gonna do?" I mean, I hope y'all are trying to do some under the blanket JO type stuff. I hope you're getting a little bit physical. Otherwise, grow. I hope you got a goal. Yeah, you're trying to mile high club it. Otherwise, grow up. Yeah, grow up. Okay. I hope everyone got some good advice. I hope I was not too sincere, and I hope Tom wasn't too funny. Yeah. For you, dear listener, this week, this episode. We've got to get editing these faster. Yes. You are loved. No one thinks like you. Welcome to the awakening.
The Pope just died. Just had to timestamp it.
Jesus.
All
right. Bye.
Goober Time is produced by me, Griffin, and Lauren Talmadge. Executive produced by Tim McGower. Associate producer Ahmed Stork, and aspiring producer Little Jimmy Penn. Goober Time is engineered by Roger Goodrich and recorded at Detweiler Sound in Humboldt, Tupelo, Mississippi. Sound mixing by Reed Armband with music by Laser Monster, which is Griffin in the past. You can check it out at lasermonster.bandcamp.com. Tom's costume was provided by Padma Lakshmi with catering provided by Kokomo's Mungo Lounge. Kokomo's, if you can't take her here, you can't take her anywhere.